He can be the governor. Now, I was thinking as I knew that I would be coming here tonight, why is it that I support Ann Richards? What is it about Ann Richards that makes me think she'd make a good governor of Texas? Well, I just sat down with pen and paper and I started to write some things which came to mind. One thing that came to mind is Ann Richards has courage. Now, what is courage? Well, when things get tough for Ann, she doesn't limp out. Now, I call that courage. Now, another word that came to mind was character. Now, what is character? Well, character is the center of us, and it doesn't shrink. If the public opinion polls say that something you're doing is not popular, that's Ann. What else? Integrity. Integrity. What is integrity? It means that when you look at Ann Richards, there's something more there than a shell. There's substance to Ann, and that's integrity. Now what else? Ann Richards knows how to fight the enemy, which is in Texas. Now, what is the enemy? No, the enemy, just a moment, the enemy is ignorance. Poverty. Indifference. And fights the enemy. You see, I'm here tonight because there is no other person in this race with those qualities Texas needs. Now, if Ann is the only person in the race with those qualities, there's no one for her to debate. It would get to be kind of a lonely debate. Ann should be governor of Texas. And in addition to the qualities I've mentioned, she would help ignite the future for Texas. You know, do you not feel that you are just a little bit tired of being embarrassed? I do not want Texas distinction to be as prime material for some comedian. I don't want the future of Texas to be those people who emulate us on Saturday Night Live. The future of Texas should be one who is thoughtful, intellectual, compassionate, caring, has something to say other than the empty negative rhetoric that we hear from some people who run for public office. So we're going to hear from Ann in a minute. Yes. And what you're going to do when you leave this place, you are not going to let one single 24-hour period go by without your telling somebody to go and vote for Ann Richards because their future depends on it. So, why are you for Ann? You are for Ann because she's the only person in Texas who has the courage, the wisdom, the knowledge, the depth, the intellect, the know-how, the will to be governor of Texas.
speakers, one of the most principled individuals in the United States that commands the respect of all its citizens. Thank you very much, Barbara. Well, when we got together before, we were leading going into the primary, and the good news was that we beat Jimmy Maddox by 30,000 votes, and we beat Clayton Williams by 50,000. And tonight we're 1 week away from the nomination, and I'm happy to tell you that we're winning this race. I know you're crowded, and I hope that you will lean on a friend because I have a lot to say tonight. We told you from the beginning that this was going to be a tough campaign, and we believed it. And now you know that it is going to be a tough campaign. I don't think really that we expected that the opponents would stoop to the low that they have, but we knew it was going to be tough. And when I announced for governor in June, I said that I hoped the campaign would be conducted on the very highest plane, that we would talk about issues, but that if we were attacked, I would respond. And yesterday we had a little press conference. And the message that we gave was real straightforward. If you want to fight, you have got to fight, and it is a fight that we're going There are a lot of issues that are facing Texas, and the truth of the matter is that they're the same tough issues that have faced us for the past 10 years. And I think that one of the messages of the campaign has to be, if those guys were so good, why do we still have the same problem? We've talked about education, we've talked about criminal justice and economic development and jobs, and we've talked a lot about the environment. We've talked about health care, we've talked about the elderly, the need for child care. We've talked about every issue that we could think of, and we've talked a lot about ethics, but somehow the matter of ethics is not getting across, and we're going to talk a whole lot more about that. So if you will indulge me for just a few minutes, I do want to mention issues. Because you see, I think it is about time in Texas that we gave teachers a professional wage and professional benefits. I think that it is time that we gave them a voice that any professional expects in their work and in their curriculum and in their schools, and allow them to do what they do best. We pulled in blue ribbon committees one after the other, and never has there been a teacher or a principal serving on that committee, and they're the ones that deliver the educational system. We have absolutely studied education to death, but the studies don't work because they don't ask the teachers what works. And we're going to ask the teachers, and we're going to give them a voice in shaping the education and the future of this state. And we're going to stop asking local government to pay for every cockamamie idea that comes out of the Texas legislature. And there are a lot of my friends in that legislature, and I respect them and they work hard. But the difficulty is that we've never had anybody run for governor who actually served on a county commissioner's court and understand what it's like to be on the receiving end of all those good ideas with no money to carry it out. And I am so tired of politicians that tell me all the way from Washington down to Austin to read my lips, we're not going to raise your taxes, when they know full well they're going to pass on responsibility and the taxes are going to be raised, but they're going to be raised on the local level by every single one of the local governments. So I'm going to give everybody fair warning. The rule of thumb is going to be, if you can't fill the till, don't pass the bill. Don't do it. I think it is time that we had a governor who said and stood for the right of a woman to control her destiny and her body. That we had a governor who stood up and said that it is time that we pay attention to the fact that the minorities of this state, whether they are African American or Mexican American or Asian, deserve an equal shot at education and jobs and every other opportunity. It's about time we got past the brother-in-law deals and the easy money and the lining your own pockets and moved on to a government that was really the public's interest, not the private interest. Now, you and I know that no one expects perfection in elected officials. We're all human, and we all know it. But what we need is a governor who is ready to deal with the real issues facing this state. We don't need any more teacher bashing. We need more respect for the profession. We don't need any more empty promises. We've been lied to and lied to enough. Don't tell me what you want to do and wish you could do. Tell me what you're going to do and then follow through with it. Now I want to say a personal note that 10 years ago, a lot of you here in this room who were my friends helped me to go and seek recovery from alcoholism. You've seen it on TV, you've heard me talk about it. I think that I have revealed more about my personal life than any candidate who has run for governor in the history of Texas. I've had 10 years, which is like a new lifetime to me, of wonderful, wonderful recovery. And no one during the time that I have served as treasurer these past 7.5 years have ever raised a question about my competence in that office, about my ethical performance in that office, about my ability to invest all the money in the state of Texas. No one ever raised any question at all about whether or not I was competent to invest $2.5 billion a day, now $4 billion a day. In fact, it was, and how much interest are we going to make this year? What other kinds of things can you do to bring in more revenue? With the result that you know that we made more money in 7 years than all the previous treasurers in 147 years combined. No one ever questioned my ability as a leader. No one ever questioned my ability as a manager. And that remains true to this day. No one ever questioned my ethics. The only time that they began to raise questions was about my personal life over 10 years ago, because you see, I got in the way of their personal ambition to become the governor. With this crowd here tonight, if you just made sure that you got 5 people, 10 people, we'd carry this election by storm. All I'm telling you is, the polls are good. These guys haven't ground me down, and they're not going to grind you down. Because I believe, and I know that you believe, that I can move this state forward. It is going to be slow, tough, hard work. But then my mama never told me that anything worth having came easy. So I'm asking you, help me move this state forward. Help these kids of ours who are going to inherit the air that we leave them, the water that we leave them, the schools that we leave them, the economy that we leave them. Because without your help, we'll never do it. But I am telling you, the polls look good. The talk is good. I went through Hobby Airport today, and this old guy that everyone would have said he wouldn't even vote for a woman for governor came up to me and he said, "Honey, don't you let them get you down. You hang in there, you hang in there." And I told him, don't you worry about it. Anytime there's a mess to clean up, they've always called on a woman to do it. Thanks very much.
I support Ann Richards because she's always been a supporter of the working people of Texas. She's someone who's had a long history of being concerned about the ordinary Texan and what life in the state means to them. I think with Ann's long record of support of issues She's someone that's going to be able to lead our state in a way that we've not seen in quite some time. Besides, it's time for a woman to sit in the governor's mansion. Thanks.
Do you have a message to the minority groups about coming out to vote, maybe?
My message to any group, minorities and on all, goes to the fact that you need to vote. And the reason you need to vote is because who you get in office is determined as much by your voting as it does by your staying at home. So therefore, if you want to have some influx or some input into how your life, your money, and whatever is governed, then you need to vote. And my vote is for Ann Richards.
Thanks. Hans, would you say what it means to you to be here tonight and also how you feel about Ann Richards becoming the future governor of Texas?
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to see Ann really come out with her dukes up, so to speak, and I'm sorry to see that the campaign has taken the turn that it has, but I'm really glad to see her fighting, because I know she is a fighter. I can tell that from what she's done in the Treasury and also from her personal history, and that's why I'm really proud to be a part of her campaign.
The nicest thing about this campaign is that it reaffirms to me that there is room at the table for everyone of talent and ability. That it is time that we get rid of the politics of divisiveness and begin the politics of inclusiveness. I think that there will be very clear divisions between Williams and me in our approach to education, in our approach to criminal justice, in our approach to environmental enforcement of the laws. And I hope very much that those issues are going to be the dominant ones. I've talked about them, and it'll be great to have focus on them.
We want you to take a look at a map that we've got on our screen showing what you picked up, and it wasn't just the urban area this time.
No, it wasn't.
You really did take a lot of the
Yeah, we
rural
did.
vote. How did you turn it around? Because it really did seem to be a division, rural versus urban.
Well, we really did have some very sophisticated targeting, and we concentrated on those areas where we thought that we could win, where we had won well in one county. We thought we could pick up some counties around that county. We also concentrated on our phone banks very heavily this time, and they really turned out for us. And I think that the people of Texas really rejected that kind of negative stuff, a lot of mud that was thrown. I think they said they didn't like it. Enough of that, and I hope that kind of politics is behind us.
Very quickly, what's the word now for Clayton Williams, who is going to be your opponent?
Well, the word is that I look forward to good, solid exchange of ideas, and I think he'll be fun to be on the campaign trail with.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Ann
a lot.
Richards, the Democratic nominee.
I think it'll be a very clear division. I think there'll be a division on how we approach education, how we approach criminal justice, how we certainly approach the abortion issue, and certainly equal rights is one of those things I feel very strongly about. And I think all of those issues will be discussed, and I suspect that Clayton and I will disagree on most of them.
What would you say to the people who say, Lady's got so much money and so much strength, it's going to be real tough if you can do it at all? What do you say to them?
The governor's mansion of Texas is not for sale. last primary, Clayton spent 8 times more than we did, and we got 50,000 more votes, so I think that bodes well for November.
Congratulations again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, keep her up here.
I think the people were so tired of that mudslinging campaign, and they totally rejected it. They just said, that's not for us. That's not the kind of stuff we want in Texas. And I'm so pleased. You know, something good always comes out of the bad. And even though it was a trashy campaign, I think that for the fall, it would certainly give the Republicans pause before they would ever get into a campaign like that, even if they entertain the idea. And I believe that we'll have a good exchange of ideas, because Clayton Williams and I do disagree on a lot of issues, and I'm hoping very much that the focus will be on those issues, not on Clayton and me personally.
So you do not expect a negative campaign from here on in, I guess?
No, I really don't. I don't think that that's Clayton's style, and it's certainly not my style, and I think it's going to be better for the people of Texas. Okay, I'm going to say hello to these children.
Hi, my name's Richard. I'm from Johnson High School.
How you doing? How nice to see you.
Same here.
I'm so pleased you came down.
I'm glad I came down too.
You bet.
I'm really glad you won.
Listen, I hope I make things better for you kids.
I hope so too.
I really do. How are you? You look dynamite, Anthony. Love your hair.
Hello, my name is Andrew Watson. Can I get a hug?
How you doing?
I want to hug too.
Bless your heart. Great to see you guys. Thanks so much. Love you. All right. Study hard.
What's the one message you've got to get across to Texas voters to make them choose Ann Richards over Clayton Williams in November?
Well, I think that it's hard to know that now. I think things will be more defined, but I think more than anything is that I understand managing government, and there's a very real difference between us. And there's a very real difference in the private sector, where Clayton Williams has experience, and the public sector, where I have experience. So I think the practical matters of running government and managing government is my long suit, and I think that it is Clayton Williams' short suit.
Okay, thank you very much.
What introduction do you want?
What do you consider to be the most important issues?
Well, how much time have you got? I think the most important issue is education, and I've said that over and over and over again. Because if you don't educate the kids, then you're not going to be successful in economic development. You're not going to attract the jobs. You're not going to be able to do the businesses that need to be done. You have got to give kids an education, or you're never going to get on top of the curve of the criminal justice system. 85% of the people in prison are high school dropouts. Our kids are now dropping out at the rate of 1/3 of our school children. I think that health care is a very important issue, particularly for elderly citizens who worry that their insurance continues to escalate. I'm going to be talking about the environment. I think the most comprehensive environmental plan of any candidate who ran this time. I believe that the environmental laws have to be enforced, or we're not going to have clean air or pure water or clean earth. And I think that it is time for us to do that in Texas. I'm going to be talking about ethics in government. I believe very strongly we need an ethics law in Texas and an ethics commission that is paid for by lobbyist registration fees, because I think the public needs to be assured that the people in office arrived there honestly and stayed there honestly. Those are a few things.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I hope there'll be more between now and then.
Oh, I'm sure that there will be, and I know as we get toward November, the differences between Clayton and me on these issues will be very clear.
Great. Good luck.
Well, how you doing?
People are the answer. And that's what I believe in. That's what Ralph Nader believes in. There's a song. I'll close with this. It's a rock song that, close your ears, Ralph. It's a rock song that Patti Smith sings, and she has a verse in it that says, people have the power to dream, people have the power to rule, people have the power to wrestle the world away from fools. Ralph Nader is a man who's one of the champion wrestlers of our time, taking it back from fools and returning it to the people. Ralph Nader.
Thank you. Thank you. Tranquility is something some of you out in the farms and ranches understand better than those of us who live in the cities. It's a quality you can't put a price on. It is priceless. It's a sense of well-being and security that you can't market in the commodity pits in Chicago. My parents taught me that years ago in a small town I grew up in Connecticut. One day, when I was 10 years old, I came from the grade school. The afternoon, went into the backyard, and they were sitting there, and they started the usual questioning process. They said, "How much is a dozen oranges?" Of course, I always prided myself knowing all the prices in the grocery stores. So I shot the answer back, and it was right on. Perfect. Then my mother said, "How much is a dozen eggs?" I knew it, never hesitated. "How much is a loaf of bread?" Bingo, right on the button. With 17 cents, by the way. And then she said, "You hear those birds singing?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "How much is that priced at?" And I didn't know how to answer. So she asked, "You feel that nice breeze? What's the price of that?" And then she said, "Look at that sunshine. Isn't that nice? Is that on sale? What's the price?" I got the message after a while, and it was a message I never forgot. And one thing that corporations are not very good at is they think everything has its price. And that anything good has to have a price. And of course, guess who controls the price? And it's important for us to stop the aggression of the mercantile value system that's running roughshod over our schools, even into our churches, into our politics, and far removed from the proper boundaries of the marketplace. So that now we are over-commercializing our children's environment through television and violent programs and junk food and war toys and addictions like tobacco and alcohol. We are now so commercializing our children that one begins to wonder who is raising our children, the corporations or the parents who are losing them to the merchandised marketeers of Madison Avenue. And when we lose our children in it on the all too willing shoulders of the Fortune 500. We need more than knowledge, however. We need the tools of change. One of them is to exercise the franchise in a more fuller and acute manner so we can sweep aside the sweet talk of manipulative politicians and lay bare what they're really all about in deed, not in rhetoric. And so we begin testing politicians by our own measures, not by 30-second ads and our short attention span. More and more, if we're not careful, especially the younger generation reared on TV, we are going to be susceptible to the manipulation of these 30-second ads. Instead of always asking the candidates, I don't care what you say, I want to know what you've done. I measure your character by what you've done, the extent to which you've stood up against corrupt interests, the extent to which you've walked that extra mile for the people out there who don't have heavy gold coins in their pocketbooks. The more voters do that, the more there will never be a statement like, well, Clayton Williams has got the Bubba vote. What is the Bubba vote? Let me tell you, I get different definitions when I come down to Texas about what the Bubba vote is all about, or what Bubba is. And once I had a dinner with 5 Texans, and I said, give me your definitions of the characteristics of the good old boy, and I got the whole waterfront. The good old boy is about everybody who ever lived in Texas. Well, let me tell you, here's how I would talk in a 30-second ad or a minute ad to Bubba. You want to hear? Here's what I'd say to Bubba. I'd say, wake up, Bubba. Who says you have to be stupid to be a Bubba? Clayton Williams represents big business. He'll side with them against you and other working Texans every time, against the safety of your workplace, against your rights if you're ever injured, against your need to get affordable auto and health insurance, against the right of your children to grow up without breathing cancerous toxics into their vulnerable lungs. Next month you can stop Clayton Williams and his plan to rule Texas through a government of the corporations, by the corporations, and for the corporations. So, haven't even finished. And the final lines, send a red light to Williams and his corporate cancer crew. Unless that is, you want him to run Texas the way he runs his bank.
And since it works so well, I'd like for you to join with me in a prayer we said the last time we met at the end of the primary. And that is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God